Hi friends, welcome back to my channel where we discuss tarot, astrology and all the other amazing tools to transform ourselves and work towards our dream goals and achieving our results. So today's video, we're going to talk about something called shadow work. If you have been facing obstacles and setbacks and self-sabotaging behavior while you continue to put effort towards achieving your desired goals, then you really need to look into something called shadow work. Now, what is shadow? Shadow was initially a concept introduced by Carl Jung. It refers to a set of repressed emotions, desires, beliefs, impulses, which are a part of our unconscious, and they affect our behaviors, our day-to-day decisions, our thought patterns greatly. And since they are so unconscious, that's why we are not even able to control them, because we're completely unaware of them. So in today's video, we are going to discuss three things. First, what is shadow and how is it formed? Second, why is it important to do shadow work and how will it improve our life? And third, what are the tools to actually do the shadow work? Okay, so let's start with part one. What is shadow and how is it formed? So shadow can really get formed during our childhood or during any of our past experiences or any kind of a relationship that was really important to us. It consists of 5 things that can actually form your shadow. The first is any trauma or any wounds, emotional wounds that you have experienced. Like, for instance, say you were in a relationship where if you were successful, you were always traumatized. So now unconsciously, you will have a belief that success is scary. And the minute you'll be able to, or you'll be near to achieving your success, you're going to self-sabotage because your nervous system still believes success to be scary, right? And so we need to be aware of these traumas and wounds that are actually governing our internal thought process so that we can stop the self-sabotaging behavior. Similarly, if say you have a wound against never being chosen by your parents, or you were never the preferred kid by your parent, and say in today's relationship, anytime you feel that your partner did not choose you, you're going to have an emotional reaction that's going to be an outburst, and it's going to be totally non-commensurate to what is actually happening. And this can really affect your relationships. And since you are unaware, you will actually believe that that is what your partner is doing, right? So the second thing that can make our shadow is any of our hidden attributes. So for instance, you were a really assertive person, but you were taught growing up that maybe if you're too assertive, you're too much for people around you. No one will want to talk to you, or it's too tough for you to be with you if you're assertive, right? And so you slowly start to hinder this assertiveness in yourself, repress this assertiveness in yourself. And so what happens is that a lot of these hidden attributes are actually our hidden strengths. They are the ones that are given to us, that are part of our personality to help us navigate our life, right? And when we repress them, we are robbing ourselves of these strengths that we possess, right? Sometimes you can have anger, and say your parents did not support your anger, or you were always treated like or isolated every time you expressed your anger emotion. So now, even if there is something that is actually wrong happening, you see some sort of toxicity, you will not be able to set a boundary, because you've been told that, oh my god, don't be angry, and anger is what shows us in the first time that something is actually off, right? So that's why we need to be aware of these hidden attributes. The third is any hidden desires that you may have. Like maybe you wanted to be a singer, a musician, an actor, and but say that was always repressed because your parents wanted you to take a more logical way or a career that was more fruitful, right? Anything that make you diminish your desires. Maybe you have a desire to go on adventurous activities, but your caregivers were not okay with sending you to those adventurous activities. Now these things, they start becoming a part of your repressed desires, and they actually are going to govern your decisions, even if you don't realize that that is actually what I'm trying to achieve here, right? The next thing that shadow is made up of is the limiting beliefs. So, if as a part of our social conditioning or growing up, our parents had some limiting beliefs, say with respect to money, with respect to relationships, then we also start to subconsciously believe them to be true, and they start driving our life. Like, for instance, if your parents believe that money is hard to come, or we have to work really hard in order to earn money, then you will continue to manifest a lot of struggle in your life. If money would come easy to you, you would just spend it away, right? That is what happens. Most of the people who win a lottery, they give it away because they have a belief that money comes very hard. We have to work really hard to earn money, and so whatever we have earned easy, I don't really deserve it, right? And it similarly can be in relationships. Maybe you believe that all men are cheaters, and so then you are going to continue either attracting those kind of partners, or if your partner shows that kind of a behavior, you'll think, okay, it's normal, all men are cheaters, right? So that is something very important for us to understand. What are these limiting beliefs that we're actually believing to be true, and then ask ourselves, are they actually true? And the fifth thing that shadow is made up of is, these hidden things that we are trying to achieve, which we have been told by the society that we are like a good person if we achieve them, but we don't actually want to achieve. Like, for instance, a very common one is with women trying to be the perfect housewife, the perfect mother, the perfect career maker, the perfect body, everything, because there's this subconscious belief system that we're a good woman if we are going to achieve that kind of standard, right? Or it can be that, oh, I need to be the best, I need to know everything. If I don't know something, then there's something wrong with me. So then you will never ever be able to admit your weakness, and you will always be having this sort of an insecurity if anyone shows to you that there's something that you don't know, right? Because you have a belief system that if you don't know something, then you're not a good person and you'll not be favored, right? And it sounds very silly when we actually bring it to awareness, but these things actually govern our actual behaviors till the time we're unaware of them. So now we're going to discuss, why should we do shadow work? Okay, what are the advantages if we start to perform this shadow work? First is, we are able to finally create a fulfilling life for ourselves and start working towards it. So it is a very good technique to assess whether these goals that we are trying to manifest, achieve, that we're working so hard towards, do they actually even align with us? Like, for instance, I will take my example. So I was always drawn towards spirituality and esoteric knowledge growing up, but the kind of environment I had, it was always preferred to have academic success and have a more uh, um, more orthodox sort of a career. And so, yeah, I was a straight A student. I repressed the side of my spirituality, and I was quite conscious of sharing my beliefs with others, because I thought it was considered taboo and woo woo, and I was concerned about how people are going to perceive me. Right? I was a straight A student. I went to the best universities, worked in the best of the companies for around 10 years, and I was doing really well there. But then there was always this thing, although I was achieving all the financial success and academic success that would look really good on paper, I felt as if there was something missing, like I was not really creating a life that was giving me the energy and the excitement and the fulfillment that I actually crave for. I was still looking for a purpose, and why am I doing what I am doing? And so finally, when I was able to gather the courage to start exploring, this field of esoteric knowledge and start to speak up about the things that I wanted to share, that is when I actually started to create a life that felt more meaningful to me. And that's the thing. It has to be meaningful to you, not to the other people. That life, that shadow, that goals, they have to start making meaning to you, right? And so you need to be aware of what are your true desires, right? Maybe there is someone who is really being pushed by the society to get married, and they actually do not want to get married. Now, can you imagine how they will show up in this marriage, right? That's not good for anyone. So it is a very good tool for you to understand what is it that I actually desire and start creating your life around it. And then whatever are the limiting beliefs around it, like, oh, what is the society going to think? Am I going to make enough money? Any sort of limiting beliefs, then you're able to resolve them once you're becoming aware of them. Second, very important advantage that we get is that now we are able to use all of our strengths, right? Because if our shadow, we have repressed so many strengths of ours because of some fear, we need them in order to navigate our life, in order to achieve our goals. And it can really bring us face to face with these strengths. Like, for instance, if there is someone who's actually really good at public speaking, but they were never allowed to be the center of attraction, and then that's why they started telling themselves, I actually don't need attention, right? Now, they actually want attention. They are really good at it. They can achieve so much with those good public speaking skills. They can do good in the society. They can earn money. They can be helpful to people who do need a voice, right? But because they have repressed the strength within themselves, so much good is being prevented, and a life that would actually mean something to them is not being created, right? So that's why we need to put in the effort to find out these hidden strengths, these hidden attributes. It doesn't even matter if you right now perceive it to be a strength, right? It can be something like, there's so many people who have like ADHD, and they are transforming that to be their strength. So what seemingly seems like a weakness, people are able to, just because they're aware of it now, they are able to tap into the power of that as well, right? So that's why it's very important to start looking into shadow work. Another thing is that we start to create a life where our relationships start to improve a lot, right? Because if your behavior is filled with these triggers from unknown wounds, or you have these needs that you're not able to communicate, and then you hold a lot of resentment and grudges, then of course, if a relationship is going to be like walking on eggshells, right? Or you're going to just be people pleasing, and you're not going to have any sort of happiness in those relationships, right? And so, when we are able to use shadow work to find out these traumas, these wounds that are affecting our behavior, these needs that we have repressed, and then we can actually choose what are the relationships that bring us those, and then to align ourselves with those relationships, right? And we can learn to communicate our needs more effectively instead of, just holding resentment or any of those limiting beliefs. We can actually take a step back, reflect that this is what I am believing it to be true. Is it true? Right? And then, did I communicate it to my partner, or to my kid, or to my friend, or to my parent, any relationship, or to my coworker? Right? So all of your relationships start to improve, whether at work or whether personal, once you're able to be more in control of your emotional state, right? And a fourth and a very important advantage of doing shadow work is that our mental health start to improve a lot. Since now we are so aware of what is causing these emotions, instead of just thinking, oh, I am like this is how world is, this is how I'm like, you're able to take an objective view of the situation, of your reactions, of your behaviors, of your belief systems, or whatever emotions are coming into your mind. And then if it is a very uncomfortable emotion, you're actually able to do something about it, because now you're aware of your needs, of your desires, of your attributes. So you're actually able to do something to improve your emotional life, right? Okay, so now we're going to discuss the tools that we can use to actually do shadow work. So, shadow work is like peeling the layers of an onion. You have to start asking yourself why, and then you'll get an answer. But the important thing is not to stop there, okay? Because that often is not really the root cause or really the issue at hand, and we have to keep answering ourselves, where did these limiting beliefs, repressed emotions, desires, where did they come from? Where was the first time in our childhood or in our relationships did we experience this? Okay, so the number one tool that you can use is being aware of your triggers, right? Every time you have a trigger or a deep sense of judgment towards something, that is a very good segue for you to start looking at your shadow. What is it that you're believing to be true in the situation? Why do you believe that? Where was the first time you were told that belief, right? And then start questioning, is it true? Is it helpful? For instance, you believe that you need to say be productive 12 hours a day every day, and if you're not, then you're actually missing out on life, right? And also, if you actually live like that, you're going to experience a life of complete exhaustion, and that will eventually start leading to health problems, right? So you need to start asking yourself, why do I believe that? Did I see my mom working like that? Did I see the people around me having those kind of belief systems? Is it helpful? Does it really help me today? Am I really a good person only if I work for 12 hours and not 10 hours a day? Right? And another thing is, ask yourself, would you do that to your loved one, to your friend, to your daughter? And that gives you a very good idea of how things should be. Like, are they actually helpful or not, right? And so, being aware of your triggers, of your wounds, of your limiting beliefs, or anything that acquires a deep sense of judgment, that is a very good time for you to start assessing. Another thing can be, say you are triggered anytime you see yourself not getting the marks that you thought you should be getting, right? And say you get this deep sense of guilt and shame and like you're falling behind. Or say you are not invited to a friend's party, and then you start to feel as if you're not loved and you don't belong anywhere, right? And these kind of triggers, they are actually really good for you to understand what is really going on here. Why do I believe something like that? Okay, where did I first start to believe it? And what was the situation? Right? Was it actually true? Because sometimes, what happens, we believe things to be true. We believe, oh, we were actually not chosen or we were not invited. When actually the other person had a valid reason. We just did not get a chance to talk to the other person, right? So a lot of times it happens, it's not even true what we are believing to be true, right? So that is a very good way for you to start doing your shadow work. Second is to start meditating. So start sitting in meditations. Even if you don't have time for longer meditations, maybe start with 15 to 20 minutes. Because meditations, they give you a pause time, right? Now you're pausing, and those autonomous thoughts, the thoughts that are like going on an automatic basis in your mind, they now have to stop, right? If you're just doing, then a lot of those unconscious thoughts can go unnoticed. But when you sit down, you take a pause for say 20 minutes in a meditation, and now all of those thoughts start coming to you, that's a very good time for you to start having a look at what are these unconscious thoughts, what are they reflecting about your belief systems, what are they reflecting about, your desires, your attributes, or maybe even your grievances, right? And maybe you have some sort of a shame around having grievances. Maybe you have a shame around being selfish. Maybe you were taught that it's very bad to start taking care of your needs. So another tool for shadow work is called journaling. So you can use any of the journal prompts that are available on the internet. Basically, you start writing every day about what's going on in your mind. You start asking yourself questions related to your confidence, your goals, your relationships, about your beliefs about money, right? And so when you start asking yourself those questions and start writing them, a lot starts coming to the surface that you were actually completely unconscious about, right? So journaling is one of the very good tools that is there to help you dive deep into your unconscious mind and start to understand how is it that you're actually viewing things, how is it that you're actually experiencing life. Okay, so I hope that you're going to start working on your shadow, and I hope this video was helpful. If you want to know more about topics like this, then do subscribe to my channel and see you in my next video. Bye.